Good Thursday morning, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for November the 9th. Today we are reading together in 2 Kings chapter 19. Not a very long chapter, but it's going to tell us about much of the good that Jehoshaphat continued to do during his reign as king over Judah. Everything is not perfect. We're going to see that in the first three verses, where there is a rebuke from Yahweh toward Jehoshaphat for his poor decision-making from our previous chapter. But then we're going to see him pick himself up and do what is good following that. So let's read here together in 2 Chronicles chapter 19, beginning in verse number 1. Second Chronicles chapter 19, verse number 1. King Jehoshaphat of Judah returned to his home in Jerusalem in peace, as opposed to Ahab from the previous chapter, who did not return home but died there on the battlefield. But then Jehu, son of the seer Hanani, went out to confront him and said to King Jehoshaphat, "Do you help the wicked and love those who hate Yahweh? Because of this, Yahweh's wrath is on you. However, some good is found in you, for you have eradicated the Asherah poles from the land and have determined in your heart to seek God." Jehoshaphat, verse 4, lived in Jerusalem, and once again he went out among the people from Beersheba to the hill country of Ephraim and brought them back to Yahweh, the God of their ancestors. He appointed judges in all the fortified cities of Judah, city by city, in the land, all the fortified cities of the land of Judah, city by city. Then he said to the judges, "Consider what you are doing, for you do not judge for a man, but for Yahweh, who is with you in the matter of judgments. And now may the terror of Yahweh be on you. Watch what you do, for there is no injustice or partiality or taking bribes with Yahweh our God." Jehoshaphat also appointed in Jerusalem some of the Levites and priests with some of the Israelite family heads for deciding Yahweh's will and for settling disputes of the residents of Jerusalem. He commanded them, saying, "In the fear of Yahweh, with integrity and wholeheartedly, you are to do the following. For every dispute that comes to you from your brothers who dwell in their cities, whether it regards differences of blood guilt, law, commandments, statutes, or judgments, you are to warn them, so that you will not incur guilt before Yahweh, and wrath will not come on you and your brothers. Do this, and you will not incur guilt. Note that Amariah, the chief priest, is over you in all matters relating to Yahweh, and Zebediah, son of Ishmael, the ruler of the house of Judah, in all matters relating to the king. And the Levites are officers in your presence. Be strong. May Yahweh be with those who do what is good." And that is 2 Chronicles chapter 19. Again, the first few verses of chapter 19, we need to know what's going on previously. Whenever Jehu, the son of the seer Hanani, comes to Jehoshaphat, which is interesting because Hanani in the few chapters ago, in chapters 16 and verses 7 through 10, came to Asa, which I believe, as I mentioned before, was that would be Jehoshaphat's grandfather, and he confronted him concerning the treaty that he had made with Aram. So both of these individuals, both Asa and Jehoshaphat, got in trouble from this family of prophets, it seems, for putting their faith and trust and helping those who do not love Yahweh. Of course, that makes sense whenever it comes to Aram, the pagan nation. But here, the reference, those who hate Yahweh, that's a reference to Israel. And how sad that is, that Israel is described here as belonging to those who hate Yahweh. Now, again, it's kind of bumfuzzling to me to try to figure out why it is that Jehoshaphat decided to do this. The only thing I can think of is that this is him trying to help his countrymen, or maybe he feels for some reason that he needs to be in this alliance with Israel. I don't know why he felt that was necessary. Yahweh had been the one who had provided for him all the way up until that point. But nevertheless, in the battle that he was engaged in, where he was being targeted because he looked like a king, he cried out to Yahweh. Yahweh delivered him. The beginning of this text, he returned home to Jerusalem in peace. Ahab did not, as I mentioned previously. He was a very wicked, evil man, and Yahweh brought judgment upon him. Here, there is judgment. There is Yahweh's wrath on Jehoshaphat. And we're thinking, oh, well, this probably means he's going to be punished in some way. He's probably done. But Yahweh extends mercy and grace. For he says, there is some good found in you, for you have done well in eradicating the Asherah poles from the lands, and you have decided to seek Yahweh. So it seems Jehoshaphat's going to be fine. He is being told, though, he wants it to be known. Yahweh wants it to be known, though, that this bad decision that he made, it didn't just go unnoticed. No. Yahweh saw what he did. He's letting him know, I saw that, letting him know that was a bad choice, that my wrath rightly would be upon you. But I want to extend mercy and grace to you because it is obvious to me that your heart is for me, but you did make a mistake. And one of the ways I think it becomes obvious that Jehoshaphat had a great heart for Yahweh is in the fact that he wanted to take Yahweh's instruction to the people. We see in beginning verse number 4 that once again, he went out among the people from Beersheba to the hill country of Ephraim and brought them back to Yahweh. He had a desire for Yahweh. He wanted to be dedicated to Yahweh with all his heart, and he wanted for the people to do that as well. And then he set up judges who would help to lead the people to Yahweh as well, that they would be dealing in matters of judgment and know that Yahweh's watching you as well. He knows because Yahweh's watching him in his poor decision making, and he's letting them know that Yahweh's also going to watch you in the decisions that you make. With Yahweh, there is no injustice. With Yahweh, there is no partiality. With Yahweh, there is no taking of bribes. And I expect for you to behave in that manner as well. So he points in those people all throughout the land as judges. Well, then in Jerusalem as well, he takes some of the Levites and the priests and some of the family heads of Israel, and he allows them to be judges as well, settling disputes of the residents of Jerusalem. And once again, he commands them that they must be people of wholehearted integrity. And you're going to do this before Yahweh. He's going to see what you're doing. If you do this with integrity, if you do this the right way, then wrath will not come upon you and you'll be fine. Same thing, or he also speaks of Moriah, who's going to deal in matters related to Yahweh. There's going to be Zebediah, who deals in matters related to the king. And then there's Levites who are going to help out as well. The final admonition is be strong, and may Yahweh be with those who do what is good. Yahweh will be with those who do what is good. So what's good in this chapter? What's good in this chapter is knowing Yahweh. That's what Jehoshaphat wanted to do among the people. He took a knowledge of Yahweh to the people so that they would draw closer to him. What did he also do? He also established these judges so they make proper judgments, so they can do what is right among God's people, settling disputes and making sure that they are in line with the law. That is good. And if they do that which is good, then Yahweh would be with them. But unfortunately, moving down the road a ways to the writings of Isaiah, we realize that wasn't always the case. Isaiah, let me double check this. Isaiah was writing during the, I moved off that page. He was writing during the time of Uzziah. Much later on, we're talking about 100 years later, past Jehoshaphat. Isaiah is writing during this time, and this is what he says is the unfortunate reality among God's people of Israel and Judah, probably more so Israel, but still this is just God's people as a whole. He says to those in Isaiah chapter 10, verse number 1, woe to those enacting crooked statutes and writing oppressive laws to keep the poor from getting a fair trial, and to deprive the needy among my people of justice, so that widows can be their spoil, and they can plunder the fatherless. What will you do on the day of punishment, when devastation comes from far away? Who will you run to for help? Where will you leave your wealth? There will be nothing to do except crouch among the prisoners or fall among the slain. In all this, his anger has not turned away, and his hand, referring to Yahweh's hand, is still raised. Unfortunately, the people did not heed the instruction continuing on from Jehoshaphat. They did engage in injustice, and for that they were held accountable for this moral failure. If you have any questions or comments about this text here in Second Chronicles chapter 19, please feel free to leave that in the comments section below. We're going to see tomorrow in our read many more war stories from Jehoshaphat's time as king. Some really incredible things taking place here. A great prayer from Jehoshaphat, and then an answer from God. We'll note all of that tomorrow. Again, I appreciate you taking some time to read along with me on this Thursday. Hope that you have a great rest of your Thursday. May God bless you in all that you do, and hope that you'll be able to take some time to read along with me again tomorrow. Take care. God bless.